Welcome to an episode of Chad Sports Talk. And welcome to week 10 of 2023 NFL season. That's right, we're up to week 10. We're getting the nitty and gritty now of the season. We're trying to see who's going to, take those last particular playoff spots. A lot of teams are struggling. You thought it would be really good. Other teams are being real surprises right now. If you look at Indianapolis and Houston, those are two prime examples right there. Teams that are definitely performing well above expectations. And right now, the Buffalo Bills and San Francisco 49ers are both teams are struggling mightily, and there's a lot of praise of those teams making it. So, looking at what's being out there, and we'll go ahead and go over my last week's picks. And let's just go ahead and dive into that nightmare, shall we? They did well. Did not do well. Did not do well last week. I'm going 8-6. Expecting a lot of teams to pull off some surprising wins. I think. Started off with that Thursday night game. I thought Pittsburgh would get the edge over Tennessee, but it doesn't look like it. Offense just couldn't get rolling once again. The defense is trying to do their part, but it's just not enough. Looked like Levis was doing just enough to get the Titans where it needed to be, and we'll see what happens from there. And then I figure Atlanta would take care of the Kirk Cousins-less Vikings, but surprise, surprise. Deadline acquisition. Richly benched Joshua Dobbs. Richly benched by the Arizona Cardinals. Then traded to Minnesota. Did not practice at all. Didn't even take a snap in practice. Had to come in, and he won the game. He's been starting in Arizona. Can't win anything. Gets benched. Gets traded. Doesn't even practice with the team. And still leads them to a victory. So apparently the offense in Arizona is Pee Wee football-ish, because Joshua Dobbs was able to go into Minnesota and just plug and play. Plugged him right in, and he was good to go. So hats off to Joshua Dobbs and his miraculous story there. And then New England just totally collapsed against the Commanders. This definitely was not a game I thought that the Patriots would lose. I really thought the Commanders had that one in hand, or excuse me, the Patriots had that one in hand, and no, this team is not doing really well. Ever since Brady left, the Patriots have not been the same, and Belichick cannot seem to find the next reliable quarterback. Of course, his original OC, Josh McDaniels, also left. That kind of hampers some things. Now he's free maybe next year. Maybe he relinquishes GM duties and concentrate coaching so that way he can top Don Shula's mark. If he does that, I think he needs to bring in Josh McDaniels, put him back as the OC. So when Belichick resigns, McDaniels can then step into the Patriot way. I think that's where we're probably should be going with that one. At least I don't know. Then Tampa Bay fell short against Houston. And C.J. Stroud is Offensive Rookie of the Year. No doubt about that. He should have that title. You might want to start throwing this kid's name in the MVP category. He has put up extraordinary numbers. I mean, the lowest interception of any starting quarterback. And he just poised in the pocket. He drops dimes in the breadbasket. I mean, over the shoulder, just perfect. He has. He was a huge gift for the Houston Texans, and they are loving it. The team is young core. I think they're starting to build things the right way. It looks it. They're doing extremely well. They're 4-4 overall. I mean, a good young talented team that should find themselves in a long-standing tenure on top of the AFC South, probably within a year. Then the Giants and Raiders, two teams definitely going the wrong directions. I picked the wrong team. I went to G-Men, and they're even worse. Apparently, getting rid of Josh McDaniels was what the Raiders needed because they celebrated quite handily like they won the Super Bowl, lining up cigars in the locker room. I think just having that pressure on them from Josh McDaniels, I think having that lifted, I think really elevated their gameplay. I did pick Dallas to beat Philadelphia. They almost did. Dak does not do well against good teams. It's been proven time and time again. He does not hold up to them. I don't know if he just can't handle the pressure or it's just all of a sudden the coaching and everything else just falls apart when they take on quality teams. But there was a time frame when Jalen Hurts was out, came back in, and still led the team to victory. And the defense held at the end. Just dumb mistakes by the Cowboys offense, and they just couldn't do it. And those are my losses. Definitely some things you got to consider. Miami looked well out of place that first half against the Chiefs over in Germany. Second half, completely different story. But the Chiefs' defense held on. The Chiefs' offense couldn't score anything in the second half, but they stopped Miami, only scoring those 2 touchdowns, and that was it. So there's a question marks right there with Kansas City. Can the team be consistent throughout the entire game? So far, they're not proven that. Miami also showing they can't handle good teams. They have struggled against the good teams this year. They're the AFC Cowboys. I hate to say it, but that's what that looks like. But I went 8-6 last week. This week, same amount of games. We got 4 teams off again this week with the Chiefs, the Rams, Dolphins, and Eagles all taking a week off. We're back in Deutschland once again. And let's kick this off for Thursday night action in the Windy City as DJ Moore welcomes his former team. That's right, the Carolina Panthers hit the Midway, take on the Chicago Bears. This is going to be a ugly game. Both these offenses are just, they have their moments. With Chicago Fields being out and then Baguette being the quarterback, he had that great game against Minnesota, and he's been back to normal ever since. But you see them on the sidelines talking to each other, looking over the last play, and pointing out what needs things to be done, and that's great. I mean, that's great to be able to bounce off the ideas and build upon each other, and hopefully make each other better. So when Fields gets back on the field, he actually be a little bit better because he's seen gameplay, he's seen how things are working, sees what has been working, and try to implement that into his game. But I think this one is just going to be one way or another. I think the Bears, after getting a suite from Washington and then signing him to a new contract, so apparently Pace has some ideas what to do, and having a good defensive end will really help anchor that defense. So, with that being said, the Bears right now are favored by 3.5. The defense is questionable on both sides, but I kind of like the Bears' offense. Kmet has really risen to be a premier tight end, and I'll give it to the Bears. The Bears are favored by 3.5. Not sure about the points, but we'll take the Bears. Yeah, wake up morning. Guten Tag. From Deutsche Bank Stadium in Frankfurt. I don't know why they call it Frankfurt Stadium. It's Deutsche Bank. But you'll see the Patriots taking on the Colts. The Patriots are just bad. They're going down the drain pretty quick. Indianapolis is doing pretty well themselves. The defense for the Patriots just fell apart. They couldn't handle Washington. They're not going to have any luck against the Colts. Minshew will find ways. I mean, he'll still throw the interceptions. A couple good running backs back there, Ramos and Taylor. Right now, Indianapolis favored by 1.5. I'm going with the Colts as well, leaving Deutschland with the W. We head back home and we have to the jungles of Cincinnati as the Bengals are on a prowl for some Texans. C.J. Stroud returns to the Buckeye State as a pro. This is going to be good. Houston has found themselves in a lot of good contests. They step up to the plate. They are not afraid of anyone. They show no fear. Burrow has now foregone his little calf injuries from the beginning of the season. The Bengals are on pace right now. T. Higgins went off last week. You saw Jamar Chase. This guy mixing. I mean, there is so much talent with the Bengals. It is hard to balance out who gets the rock. Right now, the Bengals are on fire, and they're going to run to a brick wall. The Texans are going to give them a lot to deal with. Right now, Bengals are favored by 7. I think it's going to be lower than that. Like I said, the Texans are going to make this close, but Cincinnati's going to come out on top. Then we have to Minneapolis. We have the Vikings to play host to the Saints. And with these teams, you don't know who's going to show up. Right now, Minnesota looks great. They look great with Joshua Dobbs at the helm. Can he repeat that performance again? Again, Derek Carr continuing to have the Saints perform. They both have found ways to kind of stumble. Right now, the Vikings are not very good at home field advantage. Doesn't matter how much times the fans shout "skull," they don't seem to win a lot. They got 1 win in 4 home matches. Right now, Saints are favored by 2.5. I agree with that sentiment. Be the 4th home loss for Minnesota. I'm going with the Saints. Then Jordan Love is headed to the Steel City and to take on Kenny Pickett and the Steelers. Canada, I think, is on the sideline once again, getting on field with his quarterback, with his offense, to get the field of the game. Last week, they struggled immensely. With Green Bay, I think they'll find themselves pretty good. I think TJ Watt will find ways to get there and make that left connection. I think the Steelers defense is going to dictate this game immensely. Can the offense find the right rhythm to hit the right times to get Najee Harris, get Pickens involved? Right now, Pittsburgh's favored by 3.5. I like that, going to Steelers. Then we head down to the Bay in Tampa Bay as the Buccaneers play host to the Tennessee Titans. And which version will show up? The Buccaneers have been good, but with Baker Mayfield, you don't know if he's going to close out the game. He couldn't close out against Houston. Struggled immensely. He does that a lot. If he's given the big lead, it doesn't really matter. But who has to try to come back, that's where Baker seems to fall short a bit. But you look at Tennessee, they found their new quarterback in Levis. So we'll have to see how this plans out. But I am going to go with Tampa Bay on this one. They're being at home. Right now, they're favored by 1. It's a pick 'em game. I can see it go either way. Tennessee has yet to win a road matchup, so maybe they're due. But I think the Bucs will defend their cove and walk away with the W. Then we up to Jacksonville, where the Jaguars are on the prowl for some 49ers that kind of lost their way. In more ways than one. Losers are 3 in a row. Injuries have played huge factors in this matchup. Getting Chase Young at the trade deadline should help the defensive front. Defensive coordinator is not going to come down on the sidelines for him sitting up high and really get in the nitty-gritty. So maybe Young and Bosa can be a good tandem to disrupt Trevor Lawrence and Estime. A good dynamic duo right there. You still have to worry about Kirk as well. 49ers have their offensive weapons with McCaffrey, Ayuk. Looks like Debo could be back. Kittle, Purdy, if he can, stay within his fines. Jacksonville's defense is no laughing stock. this is going to be a slugfest. I didn't think the 49ers will lose 3 games in a row. I didn't think they'll lose 2 games in a row. I really don't think they'll lose 4 games in a row. Even though everything's pointing towards San Francisco, and I almost did not pick them. Spoilers. Because just everything is pointing towards them, but I do not see them losing 4 games in a row. I really don't. I know recently Purdy has looked like the last draft pick the last few weeks, and think not having Debo in the lineup has really affected him, and no one's really stepped at the plate to kind of take over that role. But I think they'll find ways to win, and they'll edge out Jacksonville. We head to Baltimore as the Ravens take on their divisional foe, the Cleveland Browns. And right now, Baltimore looks unstoppable. The way they've handled the Seahawks and Lions, it's just one-sided affair. Lamar Jackson looks like he's having fun. Edwards is starting to get involved in that running attack, and that's what they need. They need to have some pressure relieved off of Lamar Jackson from running. Having a good running back or a couple good running backs back there can really help alleviate that issue. The defense is playing on point. Cleveland's defense is no joke. Myles Garrett's going to make sure he makes his presence felt. He's going to try to get his hands on Lamar. Lamar's very elusive, so good luck with that. The defense has been stout these past couple weeks against quality offenses. I don't see any issues with them handling Deshaun Watson and the rest of the Cleveland Browns offense. Right now, Baltimore's favored by 6. I think it's a good assessment. I'm going with the Ravens as well. Then we have bird-on-bird action out there in the desert as the Atlanta Falcons and the Glendale take on the Arizona Cardinals. And the Falcons couldn't come from behind to beat Minnesota. It's been their MO most of the year. Arizona, once again, the Cardinals are becoming the laughing stock of the NFL. It is a pick'em game pretty much. Atlanta's favored by 1.5. I almost went with Arizona just because they're home. They're due to make another win, but I don't see anything at Arizona's side that makes me think they will step up to the plate. There's too many weapons right there with the Falcons to really look at. I think Mariota came in last week. I think Mariota should be able to handle the Arizona defense. Going Falcons. Then Detroit, we have the SoFi to take on the Chargers. And the Chargers have been one of those head-scratching teams. All that talent, but they can't seem to stay consistent. They'll do one good game and then fall short this next game and fall short again and then do another good game. It's just, you don't know which version of it. The defense right there with Bosa and Khalil Mack, top notch. So they'll give Goff plenty of things to worry about. Herbert, still a phenomenal quarterback. Goff, a phenomenal quarterback. Both these guys will put up some good numbers. Keenan makes him fabulous catches against the Jets. Is like, how did he maintain control and still catch it? I just don't know how some of those went. And right now, the line is Detroit by 3. I think Detroit's going to look at this game, trying to get back in good graces. I'm leaning Detroit, but I'm uneasy about this one. I think the Chargers could pull this off, but I'm still picking the Lions to squeak it out by a point. Big D as Dallas will take on the Giants. Dak needs his game. Dallas plays very good against really bad teams. Congratulations. Dak's going to look phenomenal this week. There'll be nothing but Cowboys in this one. We're up to the Northwest, and you get the Seattle Seahawks playing host to the Washington Commanders. The Commanders, another team that keeps flip-flopping here and there. The defense stepped up against New England, even though they lost their 2 defensive ends. Taking on a Seattle team who just got manhandled by Baltimore. So you got to look at trying to find ways to get them in the right direction to kind of reassert themselves. I think Seattle's a far better team than Washington is, but Sam Howell continues to hang in there, throw the rock around. But I like the Seahawks in this one. They're favored by 6.5. I might push back on that one a bit just because how they've both been playing. Washington coming off the win, Seattle with a loss, so they're both trying to Washington's trying to maintain, Seattle's trying to regain. I think Washington's going to put up a much better fight than I think what Seattle wants, but I think Seahawks will prevail. Now you have the Jets head into Sin City to take on the Raiders, and the Jets offense once again going back to normal. Zach Wilson just can't do anything right. The Chargers defense is no joke, so nothing really against him. It was just a little harder to make a pass when the pocket collapses and you have 3 Chargers all around you. Then you have lightning bolts. It's not going to end well. Does he need to get the ball out quicker? Absolutely. Are the Jets fans wanting Aaron Rodgers to come back now? Absolutely. But don't rush back in Achilles because you can ruin the guy's career. And Aaron Rodgers doesn't have much of a career left. The Raiders looked motivated without Josh McDaniels at the helm. Maybe that's part of what it was. Right now, the Jets are favored by half point. Don't know how. The Jets defense will definitely keep them in there. There's no question about it. But O'Connell did an excellent job last week as a starter. Going to the Raiders to win at home. Then Monday night, you have the Broncos heading to Buffalo, take on the Bills. The Broncos right now 3-5. Buffalo at 5-4. They just can't seem to get out of the way. There's been a lot of injuries on defense, kind of hamper things a bit. Denver played extremely well a couple weeks ago against Kansas City in the game I called for them to win. Then they had that bye week. So now they parted off that win against KC. Then they got to go back to business. Buffalo needs to reassert themselves. I really think they're going to try to corral the Broncos as best as they can. Got to figure out who's going to create the better stampede, a Bill or a Bronco. But Wilson will definitely make it interesting for the Broncos. He will keep it close. Right now, Buffalo's favored by 7.5. I'll push back on that one just because Denver right now seems to be playing a little bit better. I think they're finally getting into the system, Sean Payton's system, and really getting in there. And I think Wilson's really buying into this now, is really seeing the fruits of the labor. But Buffalo's looking to make a statement, and they need to make it against Denver. I think the Bills will win, but it's going to be by 3. Well, there you go. Those are my picks. Hopefully, I'll do a little bit better than 8-6. Let's go 9-5. Maybe something along those lines. But which game looking forward to this coming weekend? Which team surprised you the most? Right now, who's your picks for the Super Bowl? I think right now I had, Philly over Buffalo. I'm still sticking with that one until Buffalo's officially eliminated. I'm still sticking with the Bills. I think the Bills are going to be maybe. I'm probably just on the pipe dream with that one. But I think Philly right now is a tough out for anyone to take on. They don't win pretty. They just win. But hey, just let me know down below what you think. Keep it civil. Let's interact. That really helps the algorithms out. Really help get this video out to the ether. Let everyone kind of view this. If you like what I do, hit that thumbs up for me. It really pleases you two gods. Really helps the algorithm with, again, the almighty algorithm. You also subscribe. Over 90% of you not subscribe. Why? You're staying here to the end to see this pretty face or hear my lovely voice. Talking about football and you shaking your head going, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But yet you're still here. Go hit that subscribe button. Click that bell icon. And turn on notifications until next time I post any more content. And I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk. Auf Wiedersehen.